Again, I so wish I could be with all of you in Canton, Ohio right now. I have to reflect briefly on how I got to these words of core to share with you today. That I was at Mount Chase Lodge in Mount Chase, Maine, and we had arranged to have our Friday night dinner in the lodge. It's a very small lodge. It's a wonderful place to stay. And I was debating, in light of the world in which we live, should I wear a ball cap to dinner? Should I wear a kippah? And my father-in-law said to me, well, one of three things is going to happen. Someone's going to say, oh, look, why is that guy wearing a beanie? Oh, I don't even notice that. Or someone's going to say good Shabbos. He was not worried about the anti-Semitism, the divisiveness, the vitriol. And wouldn't you know, the minute I walked into the very small dining area, a man looked at me and said, good Shabbos. And Mount Chase, Maine. And this gentleman said to me, good Shabbos. And the next morning, I ran into a woman who grew up at Temple Israel in Canton, Ohio. You can message me after Yom Tov and reach out to me. I'll share with who it was. I thought, why had I grown into this mindset? And I recognize it's because we don't know how to talk to each other anymore. It's not just about anti-Semitism. We navigate the world in headlines or tweets. We listen to our own echo chambers. And we are living in a world with the most content and the biggest oversaturation of information in the history of the world. And this, of course, leads greater and greater and greater conflict. We see it brewing and boiling over everywhere. And as a result, our world lacks complete nuance. I've long talked about how we are living in the era of hyper transition. We are also living in the era that lacks nuance, the era devoid of nuance. Now, we as a Jewish people have actually seen this before. At one point in our biblical history, we were living at a time that also lacked nuance. You may recall, of course, it's been some months, but you may recall when we read the story about Moses and Korach in Parshat Korach, the namesake. There, Moses is leading the Israelites through the wilderness, and Korach, his kinsman, comes forward and challenges his leadership. He says, and I'll translate for you, you take too much upon you, seeing that all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you, Moses, lift up yourselves among the congregation of the Lord? Why does Korah lack the nuance? Why does Korah leave out the details of the burning bush? Why does Korah leave out the details of Mount Sinai? Why does Korah leave out the details of Miriam traveling with her well, or Aaron standing between life and death in the face of the golden calf? What is going on here? Korah was not describing the relationship between Moses and God, or even God and the Israelites. Korah was intentionally leaving out, omitting important details. And underlying that lack of nuance, without the full amount of information, Korah was inserting himself because of his ego, not because of the pursuit of truth, to be in charge. Korah was staging a mutiny and leaving out the biblical facts, if you will, as to why he should make the case that he should step up in front of the people and not Moshe Rabbeinu, not Moses, our master, our teacher. But Moses engages Korah, you'll recall. Moses calls out to God and says, look, this opponent, I've got a contender here. If you really are going to say it's me, then you need to make it known. So Moses stands before Korah and his followers and all of the Israelites and says, tomorrow the Lord will show who are God and who is holy, and will cause that person to come near to him. This is a pun in a sense. Karov, korban, sacrifice. That one whom he has chosen will he cause to come near. Now he says Moses, in a sense, is charging Korach, and it's God speaking. Take all of your censers, uh, your sacrificial plates. Take your incense bowls, and I want you and all your company put fire in it. Put incense before God tomorrow. Whomever God chooses, he shall be holy. What's the aftermath? Korach and his followers, they come, they make their offering. And in that moment, God opens up the earth and swallows Korach and his followers. Moses and the people smelt down their altar pans and make them into not an altar or an idol, but something to be venerated as saying this was a holy space. But the Torah says that Korach and his followers are swallowed up and brought to Sheol. This is perhaps the only reference to the word Sheol in the Torah. Sheol often used synonymously with hell. We know that Jews don't believe in heaven and hell, and that's for a different of our Torah. But we question, why this word Sheol? Why Sheol? What does it mean? Why not brought to the center of the earth? Sure, we could say that Sheol itself is a synonym or a term or a phrase for the center of the earth or something underground, Tachat haaretz. But I'm intrigued by this idea of Sheol because it's the root of the word in my mind, at least midrashically, that leads and begs the question, why? Because I think of She'elah, question, Lishol, to ask. Korach and his followers are swallowed up into the earth and brought to the point of questioning. Now, I might be leading the witness here, and you might be thinking this idea of questioning, like the day of judgment, Yom Hadin, we talk about next week. I'm actually saying that Rosh HaShanah is explicitly also about asking questions. Just as I referred to yesterday with Rosh Hashanah Yikatzum, we ask so many questions. Think about it. We say, shall live, who shall die, in that same Rosh Hashanah prayer. In Ochila La'el during the Amidah, we say, Ochila La'el, Chale Panav, Eshala, I will ask, Mimena Ma'aneh Lashon, I hope in God. I will ask God's presence. I will ask God to grant me the ability to use my tongue to speak, to clarify, to seek nuance. That really is our charge as we embark upon this new holy Jewish year. It's a multi-tiered process as to how we navigate the world. We are charged not to be a cause for lack of nuance. We are charged to ask the questions, to specifically engage in machloket, in dispute, in conflict, not conflict for the sake of conflict, and not conflict for the sake of ego. We are charged to engage in machloket l'shem shamayim, conflict for the sake of the heavens. So we ask the question, what is a machloket l'shem shamayim? It's certainly not what Moses and Korach engaged in, according to the rabbis in the Mishnah of Pirkei Avot. It's the debate between Hillel and Shammai. That's machloket l'shem shamayim. It's when we actually seek understanding to better ourselves, better our lives, and better the world. It's about engaging in dialogue and debate and discernment and examination, all in the name of leaving the world in a better place. It's not about the why. It's about the how. It's not why did this legislation get passed? It's how did this legislation get passed? It's not why did that person get hired or fired? It's it's how did that person get hired or fired? It's not why did that accident happen? It's how did that accident happen? Those how questions unpack the nuance. So often in Judaism, we are lauded and praised, saying, oh, what a wonderful religion. We ask questions and we think it's okay to ask the why, and it is, but we fail to ask the how. And that's our charge. How did Korach rise to the ranks among the Israelites, able to challenge Moses without any rebukes from his peers? How did Korach get to a place where he could stage a mutiny? Why? Because they were wanting for nuance. They were going to the land I will show you. They had faith in God. They were lacking nuance. They were unwilling to ask the questions. Who did? Moses. Moses goes to God and demands, do not respect their offering, God. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt one of them. Look for the nuance of our engagement. And likewise, we as a people have to take hold and reclaim our future. What is my vision for a new year and a new world creating all over again on Rosh Hashanah? I am hopeful that people could spend some time talking in the gray again, the sacred messiness in life. People will engage in dialogue and debate, actually listening and hearing each other. That people will be able to understand the nuance. Nuance from the Latin, nubes, meaning cloud. That is, a cloud has lifted. That cloud that we traveled with in the wilderness. Conflict is okay if it leads to progress and is productive and it's for the sake of heaven. If it's for the sake of ego or simply conflict for conflict's sake, then that is in our list of sham news this year. And we should work our darndest to make it right. Because we may, heaven forbid, find ourselves regressing into Korah. But we are blessed and very well can be Moses this year. And if we do it right, not only do we recognize that that is our part, but at the end of the day, we're able to say, there will never be a Korach again. And we will lead our people into the promised land, together and united with all our brothers and sisters and neighbors of this world. Not putting an end to conflict, but putting an end to the lack of nuance, which is all dire conflict resides. Not